Okay. And we are recording. Great. Okay, so let me welcome Katie. We are so excited to have Katie Kastner presenting with us today. Katie is a content writer and certified digital marketer who helps women-led businesses plan and create the content they need to authentically build brand awareness, create lead generation, and grow with integrity. One of the things I love about Katie is that she refers to herself as a former what if-er. And I think we all have some what ifers within us. And she's going to talk to us today how she overcame that and things that we can be thinking about to really be pursuing the kind of lives that we're hoping to have that we find really fulfilling. So Katie, I'm so thrilled you're here. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me, Gina. I was really excited to talk to you guys. So, hi, as Gina said, I am a content writer and certified digital marketer. I don't actually have anything to present, I'm sorry, but this, I'd love to just kind of chat and tell you a little bit about my story and answer any questions and give any resources that I can. I'm probably in the grand scheme of things a little newer in the entrepreneur game than others, but I kind of went in it full force when I did. So I've been doing this pretty much full time for almost 3 years now. And it started as a what if, which is one of my favorite ways to start, because I think starting with what if presents a lot of possibilities for the future. So I am a former teacher. I have undergraduate in marketing communications. I have a master's degree in special education. I taught for a couple of years. I was in retail for a couple of years. I did brand training for a couple of years. And then I became a stay-at-home mom, which I sort of fell into. Wasn't the plan. It was kind of like, oh, okay, we'll do this now. And I did that for 7 years. And in that time, I really kind of tried to figure out what I wanted sort of beyond motherhood. I loved being a stay-at-home mom. My kids are still pretty young. My daughter is about to be 9 and my son is 7. So throughout those years of being home, I really was always kind of subconsciously searching for something that was a little bit all mine. My husband has a wonderful job and he's been a great support to me and still is a great support to me, but I needed something that was a little bit my own. And I think a lot of other women that I talk to feel the same. They kind of feel like they want something for themselves. So a couple of years ago, I decided, what do I want to do more than anything in the whole wide world? I want to write words for money. That's what I want to do. I want to write words and I want to make money writing words. So how do I do that? Like we all do it now in the 2020s, I Googled it and I came across a wonderful freelance writing coach. And she sort of her niche was moms looking to become freelance writers. And I thought, perfect, that's exactly what I am. She was speaking to all of my pain points. So I signed up with her and I took her course. And throughout that course, I really learned more the business side of things. The writing side of things had been a struggle for me. I have written in some capacity my entire life. I used to every Christmas write a family newsletter and give that away as a Christmas present to all of our family members, which looking back wasn't a great Christmas present, but everybody loved it. And it was very cute that, you know, at 9 years old, I was like on our PC typing up a newsletter and just like telling everybody's business. That's all it was. It was just like, this is what this person's doing. But again, it's always been very much a part of who I am and something I am truly passionate about. So I had a blog for many years. I would kind of do writing here or there. I would help somebody write a resume, or I would write a cover letter, or I would write newsletter content for my university or organizations that I was a part of. So the writing part of it was never something that I struggled with. I can write just about anything you want me to. The building the business part of it, that was all brand new to me. I had never done the entrepreneur thing. I had never struck out on my own. I had never been my own boss. I had always answered to somebody else. And while the answering to myself and being my own boss part was amazing and still is amazing, you also have to be your own boss, and you kind of have to be in charge of yourself. So there was a lot of learning and growing as I built this business, all while still, raising two little kids. We also bought and sold a house in that time period. We got a dog. Life continued to happen around me as I moved forward in creating this business. So I got my first couple clients. That was amazing. I loved what I was doing. And I realized very quickly that the piece that was kind of missing for me was the teaching. I do feel that at heart, I am an educator. I missed the teaching part. I missed sharing what I knew. So that is when I decided that content marketing and the world of content marketing was always very interesting to me, because what it comes down to is human behavior and understanding the behavior of the audience that you're trying to reach as you're marketing your business or your brand or whatever it is you have, and how they are going to behave, how are they will respond, and what can you create and what can you put out there that's going to attract them to you and bring them into your world, and ultimately help build your business. So that's when I became a certified digital marketer, learned so much through that, and really felt like this was sort of the perfect combination for me. So I have my one-to-one writing clients that I love, and I love that writing. And I also have content marketing clients who I'm helping them build a strategy around their business to help grow pretty much online, because everything is happening in the digital space these days. So that has kind of been, and so here we are today. And I love what I'm doing. I'm feeling really fulfilled, which Gina and I spoke about this when we spoke a couple of weeks ago, that was something that I was lacking for a long time. And in the last couple of years, as I've been in this world of entrepreneurs, and especially female entrepreneurs, and specifically mom entrepreneurs, we find there is this sort of overall sense of not feeling truly fulfilled and searching for what's going to do it, what's going to sort of fill that little bit of a void that's going to bring you a contentment and something for yourself. And so I work primarily with female entrepreneurs and business owners now, and it's been truly wonderful to be able to collaborate with them and assist them and help them build something that they're really truly passionate about. And again, take the what if to, oh, look, because that seems to be what happens. We start our conversations and it's, well, what if I could rank on the first page of Google? Okay, cool. So this is what we're going to do. Oh, look, you did it. What if I can reach 1,000 people on my Instagram and book $10,000 worth of client work? Oh, look, I did it. And it's through that growth, that natural content marketing. I do pretty much all organic content marketing. So I don't do anything with paid traffic, which there are content marketers out there who do that. But it's all a natural organic growth that starts with them telling their story, sharing their expertise, their knowledge, and building a community around them that helps them grow and ultimately helps them serve their audience. So that's where we are today.
So Katie, I wonder if I'm sure people have questions for you about building out your business and what ultimately made you decide, like, yes, I'm going to do this. I know you talked about working with a coach. What
Mm-hmm.
kind of steps did you take to, like, okay, did you need to build out a business plan, build your website? I know you said like all organic marketing, which I'm fascinated by, because
Mm-hmm.
I know most of us think about, how do I build an audience? How do I keep up with my social media presence? Should I be doing paid ads? Where am I finding my clients? So I wonder if you could share a little bit with us, like, what was your process from the very beginning and how did you find these clients organically?
So I think in the very beginning, I always say this, and I've said this to a lot of other people, is I started with mindset, which I think for a lot of people is really the place you need to start. I first of all decided that I wanted this business and I wanted this life and I deserved it. This was something that I deserved to pursue. And that was a huge, for me, just personally, that was kind of a huge step, is really admitting and believing that I was meant for this. This was meant for me. And I have every right to pursue it. So that was number one. And I always start with mindset. I start with mindset with my clients because I think that you have to sort of be in that place in order to take the next step forward. Because those steps after that tend to be kind of big, sometimes a little scary, sometimes a little overwhelming. So if you are starting from a place of, this is what I want, this is what I believe, this is what's going to be, getting there, you feel, I think you just feel more supported going forward. So after that, I think what my first step was finding that coaching support. So I knew, again, that I didn't necessarily need the help learning how to write. I needed the help learning how to find clients, build a business, build out processes, sort of the back office thing. So within that course and within that group, I did build a website. I did it myself with using like Google and YouTube. I wouldn't recommend that. It was, unless you're inclined in that way, unless you're technically inclined, which I can do it basically, but hire somebody to do it, to just get your website up and running. The other thing is I did really work to establish a social media presence and I'm still working on that. I'm still growing my socials. But that was really powerful for me in the early days because as I was learning, and that was another piece of it, I never stopped learning. I'm still learning. I'm still to this. I just signed myself up for another advanced digital marketer course because as an entrepreneur, you have to remain a student of everything. You have to remain a student of your craft. You have to remain a student of your business. You have to remain a student of current trends. Even some of the things I learned 2 years ago when I started dabbling in content marketing, that has sort of there's been an ebb and flow and a little bit of a change to it, as to now. So I remained a student throughout. I truly took in everything I learned and I applied it in whatever way worked best for me. And this is something I see now too, having been sort of in the online entrepreneurial space for a while, is that you'll see a lot of people who have their systems, right? And they sell a course or a system and you're going to get from point A to point B using this particular system. What I realized early on is every single one of those have merit and have value. But ultimately, when you're doing this for yourself, when you are an entrepreneur and you are creating something for yourself, it has to work inside your own life. So, going back even to that first freelance writing courses, one of the steps was to cold pitch 500 clients a week. At that time, I had a preschooler that was home with me all week long. I had a first grader. I was packing up a house to move. I truly did not have the mental bandwidth and or time to send 500 cold pitches a week. So that was my first kind of lesson in, okay, I'll do it. I will do the cold pitching, but it's going to have to work best within the context of my life. And I've kind of taken that viewpoint forward in everything. So again, going back to sort of that paid traffic, there's a lot of content marketers that do Facebook ads, they do Google ads, they specialize in that. That's not something that within my business right now I have time for or interest in. So that's okay. I don't have to do that. I think a lot of times we get caught up in all of what we should be doing instead of what can we be doing right now? What is something I can do right now that's going to move the needle forward for me? But it's also not going to overwhelm me to the point that I want to stop, because that is another thing I see a lot of is again, like I said, I went at this full force in the beginning. And I did a couple of times have to sort of pull back so I didn't get to that burnout spot once again, because again, it's all me. I'm hoping to bring on a VA this year. That's like one of my big goals for 2022. But up until now, it's me, it's my back office system doing everything. So in those early steps, learn as much as you can and apply it in the way that works best for you, most definitely. I think beyond that, it's consult the experts. I have somebody, I use a back office system that I have like a contact person for that. And I listen to her and she tells me the best ways to kind of run that. And I have a freelancing group where there are women in there who have been in the game far longer than I have. And I go to them for counsel and for feedback. And I, again, remain as the student no matter where I'm at. And I am very careful about who I sort of look to for direction and for counsel and how I'm moving forward. And that's going to change as you grow and as your business evolves and as you evolve as an entrepreneur. That who you look to and who you kind of seek out for that guidance and that support is going to change, and that's good. It should. You should sort of outgrow people here and there. You know what I mean? Like you should outgrow this course or this strategist, or that's kind of the point as you continue to grow and build your business. So I think in terms of steps, it was very pragmatic, and it was very one right after the other. And it was very, okay, I did this thing. And being careful not to get ahead of myself, which is something I just do anyway. It's very much part of my personality, is to want to do all of the things at once. And again, you have to be careful of that burnout. You have to be careful of stretching yourself so thin and trying to do too much at once, that this thing that was once this passion and you were so excited about starts to feel like a job. And it's always going to feel a little bit like a job, but in that way that you didn't want it to. You didn't get into it to make it feel like a job. So I think starting at the beginning and truly just taking those steps one after the other and being really patient with yourself and really patient with the process. There's a lot to know. And there's stuff that I'm still learning, excuse me. And I'm not going to know it all at once, and that's okay. And so that one foot after the other will get you to where you want to go. I think is probably the best way to describe it.
Katie, this is so good. And I'm going to open it up for questions for everyone shortly, but I thought maybe we could carry this conversation a little bit further, kind of like a fireside chat, right? Like, sure. Because I really appreciate all that you're sharing here. And I think there's so much benefit to hearing your story. And I wonder, I have two thoughts, but I'll start with the first one. What does your day-to-day look like? Like you said, you have to be your boss, right? Like I have to be my own boss. I have to keep myself in check. And you need to avoid burnout and all of these things. So how do you structure your day to ensure you are, reaching out to your target market, you are responding to your clients, you're getting your work done, you're taking care of your kids, you're cooking dinner, like all of that fun stuff, right? You're letting the dog out. Like how do you structure that for yourself without making yourself crazy, right? Like, and keeping yourself organized.
Well, I mean, every day is an adventure. So every day I do feel like I'm at a level of crazy that's maybe a little bit different than the day before, but I function well that way. So that's fine. I will say, I ask for help, which is something that I have struggled to do most of my life. And I turned 40 last week, and I was like, so this new decade is going to be asking for help when I need it. So in terms of structuring my day, I don't like to work 5 days a week, so I don't. So I, from the beginning, said I only want to work 3 days a week, and whatever those days are each week, I only want to work 3 days a week. Holding myself to that standard has actually been really helpful in how I block my time and how I plan for things throughout the week. So for example, in my scheduling system, you can never book a call with me on Tuesdays or Thursdays. I just don't take calls Tuesdays or Thursdays. So I will know that some weeks, if there's weeks that are very writing heavy for me, I know that my 2 writing days are going to be Tuesday and Thursday, because I won't have calls. I won't have anything on my calendar. They're going to distract me, because when I do need to write, I need to write. I like put on my white noise, and I need to be in an empty room. So from the beginning, I sort of set standards for myself that, and a lot of people are like, I don't want to work on the weekends. I don't mind the weekends. Like, I love like taking off on Sunday and leaving my husband and the kids to do whatever. And I'll go to the library, I'll go to a coffee shop, and I'll get a bunch of work done. And sort of getting out of that like corporate American 9-to-5 mindset of the weekend has to be the weekend. Well, no, actually, I kind of like it. So I'm going to use that time, and I'm going to open up more time for myself during the week. So like, I can go to the grocery store without a bunch of people there, because I really enjoy that. So that was one of the things early on that I really wanted to be able to do, is like go grocery shopping at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday when the store is empty, because that's nice and enjoyable. Okay, so that's what I want to do. So early on, I really sort of set like, what do I want this to look like? And that has changed and ebbed and flowed as, both of my kids went to school full time, and, that kind of thing. I've remained really flexible in it, but 3 days a week during the Monday through Friday, I've stuck to for years now. The other thing I'm a big fan of is time blocking. So I now, through a lot of my own kind of self-reflection and work, I do really good between the hours of 9 and noon. So I block my hours from 9 to noon for the stuff I really need to attend to, whether it's writing, whether it's content creation, stuff that I have to sort of get creative for and pull that creative piece out of me. That will always happen in morning hours, because that's when I'm feeling the most alert, the most aware, and the most creative. And I'm done with work by 3 p.m., at least during the school year, because my kids are home, and that I feel like any mom knows from like 3 o'clock till bedtime is pointless time anyway. So that, again, from jump, post school hours were non-working hours for me. And so sometimes that looks like saying no to projects. Sometimes that looks like reworking deadlines and being very honest with my clients that things might have to get pushed out, or things might have to get pushed up, looking, depending on my schedule, because like you said, I am my own boss, so I get to decide. And what I've decided is that I did this so I wouldn't be a schedule or a slave to a schedule, and I would have to miss things with my kids, or I would have to even just downtime for myself that I might need throughout the week. And so I'm very precious about that. I'm very protective over my time during the week and how I use it. And so my time blocking is huge. I also love, it's a little Chrome extension that has saved me a million times. If you're familiar with the Pomodoro technique, which is like working in 25-minute increments. So the Pomodoro timer, which is literally just like a little Chrome extension, it's a little tomato, you click it and it sets the timer for 25 minutes. And then you get a 5-minute break and you work for 25 minutes. And then you get a 5-minute break, you work for 25 minutes, you get a 15-minute break. And that I discovered years ago, and I use that every single day, whether it's writing, whether it's admin stuff, whatever, because I can do anything for 25 minutes. Like I can focus for 25 minutes, even on days where I'm feeling like I can't focus on anything, I can focus on something for 25 minutes. So it's little things like that that really help me plan my day. And then there's also days where, and I'm very much into self-reflection and working sort of in awareness with myself. So there are days where writing is just not going to happen for me. It's just not going to happen. So this might be a day of back office admin stuff. This might be a day of creating posts for Instagram, and that's okay. I'll eventually get back to a place where I'm ready to do the writing piece of it. But again, being patient and graceful with myself, because every day might look a little bit different, and that's okay. But I think when it comes down to like the scheduling things, it's being very protective over my working hours and setting myself up with time blocking and with the Pomodoro method to, there you go, to be as successful as I can in that time that I've allotted myself. Because it's not, I'm taking my 3 days a week really isn't a whole lot of time, but I've done it successfully for 3 years. And it works really well and helps keep me in a place of ease within my business, and has kept me from getting to that place of burnout, which I started out in. And so I don't really want to go back there. So I keep myself kind of to these expectations.
I think everybody's gonna be downloading the tomato timer.
It is the best. It's the best. Yes.
That is really exciting. I so appreciate everything you're sharing here. And I certain people have a lot of questions. I'm going to ask my last question and then we can open it up. But I want to ask you, and it's okay if you do not have an answer to this. So I know that you talked about being married, taking care of kids, committing to 3 days a week. And this really works well for you. I wonder if you could also think about sharing a little bit for someone who maybe does not have the opportunity to say, I'm only going to work 3 days a week, or have a second income in their household. What does it look like for someone who wants to pursue entrepreneurship? That maybe, I don't want to say that you have a safety net, right? Like that's
Right.
not what it is, right? But that your home structure is different. And so for a person who maybe doesn't have a similar home structure and is like, I'm going to be the sole income provider here.
Yeah.
What do you think are the different challenges that exist? And what recommendations would you make?
Well, the challenges are very different. I think that's one of the, I'm very aware of, the fact that this isn't our sole income, and I don't, fully support our family. And so I'm able to sort of do this on my own schedule and at a time, in a way that works for me personally. I think if you're looking at this as something that's going to be full-time and it's going to support a family, in the beginning, I think it's going to have to be a little bit more intense, and you are going to have to cold pitch 500 clients a week to make sure that you have that coming in. And you are going to have to sort of sacrifice here or there, or, as I've always loved to say, work in the margins of life. So, I work with a lot of people who are kind of doing the side hustle thing, even though I hate that word hustle. But they're sort of building something in tandem with a full-time job. And that is, again, going back to mindset, knowing that it's okay to want that. It's okay to want to say no thank you to traditional corporate 9 to 5 and to want to do something different. And then it's having to make some sacrifices here and there. Yes, I'm on a 3-day work week now, but in the beginning, I really wasn't. And in those first couple of months, it was stealing time here or there, taking chunks of time that I could get it, and working as hard as I could in those smaller periods of time, because I knew, again, my end goal was to only work for 3 days a week and have a lot of that extra, that extra flexible time. That was really important to me. So that was one of my goals. For someone who is, their lives look a little bit different, that's going to look a little bit different. And I think that's, again, going back to that, there isn't a one size fits all solution for entrepreneurship. There just isn't, because like the definition of entrepreneur is innovator. So really, you are going forward in something and you're doing it, and it's kind of like, I'm trying to have an analogy of like, it's literally just like unfolding in front of you as you move. The next step might not be clear, but it's just going to happen. And it's just kind of like a roll of wrapping paper. Like it's just going to keep unfolding. And the pattern on your wrapping paper is going to look different than the pattern on my wrapping paper. And that's okay. And I think one of the things that's kind of exciting about being an entrepreneur now is that the amount of resources that are available in the entrepreneurial space, no matter what your situation is, you can find a community, resources, a course that support you where you are and in your situation. I've always said you can literally learn anything if you have a computer and internet connection. You can learn anything. And the beauty of it, again, is that there is truly something out there for everyone. You know, I'm part of a networking group where there's a couple of women who are entrepreneurial strategists and business coaches for working moms. So they work specifically with women who are juggling a full-time job and a family and are maybe single moms, and they are the sole breadwinners, and they're trying to make this work because they have it in them to do it. So I think, while I don't have the personal experience with it, somebody out there does. And there is someone available to you that is going to meet you right exactly where you are and know how to get you where you want to be. So be open to it, like be aware of it. And even if it is a Google search for business coaches for working moms, if people are doing their SEO right, that's going to come up. Somebody is going to show up for you and you're going to find what you're looking for. So yeah, it's just, again, being in the mindset of wanting it and knowing that you're going to do whatever you can do to get there. And then finding the community to support the resources that, again, meet you where you are. That's a huge piece of it.
So I lied and said that was my last question. So I just want to say, if you don't know, Katie is also an SEO expert, right?
I'm getting there. Again, that's one of those things that is changing. The SEO I learned last summer, but it's SEO to some people is the most boring thing in the world. I find it kind of fascinating. So yes, I'm getting my SEO knowledge it's changing every week because there's a new algorithm change every week, but yes.
What is your best SEO tip?
Know your keywords.
Know your
keywords. Know your target keywords. So I'm actually working on a blog post about this right now. The whole thing with SEO, search engine optimization, is creating content on the internet. And this goes more for like website content. So web copy, blog posts, alt text on images. There's a lot of things that go into it, but creating content that use your target keywords so that as the search bots, and I usually just go with Google because Google is kind of like the king of them all. As those bots go out to crawl the internet and answer somebody's query, let's say you want to know, like, business coach for working moms. If that business coach has created enough content on her website that is of high value, that is well laid out, the format's beautiful, it's very easy to read, and it has that target keyword or key phrase of business coach for working moms within that content, the Google bots know, okay, we can show them this particular website. This website is of high quality. They know their stuff. Again, there's so many pieces that go into SEO. There's on page, there's technical, there's off page, there's a lot. But I think if you were to start somewhere, especially with the organic SEO, because you can pay for ads and that'll show up on the first page of Google and all of that. But if you're really trying to build that organic, which is much more sustainable than ads, you have to know what your audience or your demographic is searching for. You have to know what are they logging on to Google, typing in the search box, what do they need, and how can you produce content around that that's going to meet their needs, answer their questions, so that Google knows, okay, Katie's website has exactly what they need. We're going to show them this website. So know your keywords. And that goes back to knowing your audience and knowing who you're serving, and what it is, what their pain points are, what their problems are, and having an understanding of your ideal client and your ideal audience.
Are there any sites that you use to help you target your keywords? Like, I know I can't think of the name, right? That tell you like keyword ranks.
There's so many. Oh my gosh,
right.
there's like dozens. The ones I prefer are Uber Suggest. And you can do a lot. And all of these sites, there's like, you get a couple of free searches, and then they of course want you to subscribe. I actually subscribe to Uber Suggest because that's what I use for all of my clients. But Uber Suggest is one that's great because it'll give you the rankings of the keywords. Again, I could talk for another 45 minutes about SEO and keyword ranking, but Uber Suggest is a great one. Another one that I love, but you only get like 2 or 3 free searches a day, is answerthepublic.com. And that will actually, so let's say you typed in content marketing, like that was sort of like your topic that you want to find queries around. It will show you questions that are being asked about that, target key phrases around that. So I would say Uber Suggest and Answer the Public are my 2 favorites for finding out exactly what my audience is searching for and what around that target keyword would also help me rank. Yeah.
Sorry for the all caps there. That was an accident. Thank you.
It's important though. Yeah.
That is so helpful. I'm sorry. The second one was
answerthepublic.com.
answerthepublic.com. I'll pull that up. And in the meantime, let me open it up. Like, what questions do you have for Katie?